Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. All people of various ethnic backgrounds are called to unite in Trinidad and Tobago. This story takes the lead in our 922nd edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 18th August 2020. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. The legacy of Dr. Eric Williams, the man people often refer to as Father of the Nation, lives on. And now, amid recent racial tension in Trinidad and Tobago, there is a call for unity and to remember the words of the late Dr. Williams. Anselm Gibbs of TV6 News reports.
A call for everyone in TNT, regardless of your skin color, to unite in the battle against a pandemic.
Of all ethnic background, religious background, economic background, to join hands at this time and give the government the support that it will need to help fight and get rid of COVID-19.
The call was made at this year's wreath-laying ceremony to honor the memory of this country's first Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams.
Let us not be considered and looked at as cockroaches and vermin. We have to be in this together, sink or float.
Those present were reminded of how words of wisdom shared by Dr. Williams back in 1962 are still relevant today. Vidal, as he has done in the past, scolded those in authority, saying they don't seem to properly recognize Dr. Williams, only doing so conveniently.
He was taken out of the closet for the last few weeks, but I'm sure he has been put back into the closet.
A number of people were also honored for their various contributions to life in TNT.
The Dr. Eric Williams Memorial Committee awards the Father of the Nation Medal of Honor Gold to Mr. Clayton Morris for outstanding contribution in the sphere of football, community, and public service.
Other awardees included George Newton, Pastor Kern Tobias, Garth Sinclair, Edward Reed, Larry Foston, and retired Colonel Clyde Daniel. Anselm Gibbs, TV6 News.
Tobago has a total of 17 COVID-19 cases. This was revealed by the Division of Health on Saturday, while 6 fire officers are quarantined. More in this TV6 News report with Elizabeth Williams.
The Division of Health notified the public on Saturday that 5 additional cases tested positive for COVID-19 in Tobago. 3 are contacts of recently positive COVID-19 cases, and 2 are pending epidemiological investigation. All established protocols have since been implemented, inclusive of contact tracing, which is ongoing. Consequently, there are currently 13 active COVID-19 cases in Tobago. The total positive cases of COVID-19 recorded in Tobago now stands at 17. In addition to this, 6 fire officers are on self-quarantine pending investigation by the health authorities, and according to Public Relations Officer of the Tobago Fire Service, David Thomas, fire stations throughout Tobago will be sanitized between Saturday and Sunday out of an abundance of caution. A female fire officer was also swabbed on Friday after she reported to work feeling unwell. Knowing she was to be tested for COVID-19 later that day, she was asked to leave the Tobago fire station immediately, and now her results are pending. Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News.
Over in Guyana, the Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan on Friday morning dismissed the 19 fraud-related charges against President Irfan Ali over the sale of lands at Plantation Sparendam, Pradoville 2, East Coast Demerara. HGP's Wendell Badri reports.
In the morning hours of Friday, the 19 criminal charges which had been brought against the President of Guyana, Mohamed Irfan Ali, in relation to the sale of several state lands at Prattville and Prattville II, while he was Minister of Housing, was dismissed by Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan. The matter had been called on August 6, 2020, when Ali's lawyer, Devendra Kissoon, applied for the charges to be dropped against the backdrop of Article 182.2 of the Constitution of Guyana. The Chief Magistrate adjourned the matter to October 26, but Ali's lawyer, Kissoon, met with the counsel of the Special Organized Crime Unit, Patrice Henry, and wrote to the DPP asking again that the charges be dropped. Article 182.2 of the Constitution states that while any person holds or performs the functions of the office of the President, no criminal proceedings shall be instituted or continued against him or her in respect of anything done or omitted to be done by him or her in his or her private capacity, and no civil proceedings shall be instituted or continued in respect of which relief is claimed against him or her, or anything done or omitted to be done in his or her private capacity. Speaking with this newscast, counsel for Soku, Patrice Henry, revealed that his client, Soku, had also expressed the view that it was unwilling to pursue the matter against a sitting president.
They would have instructed me that they are no longer interested in pursuing those 19 criminal charges against the president. So as a consequence of that, I could no longer proceed, and so I would have had to withdraw and discontinue those charges.
Mr. Henry also revealed that should the president run for a second term, it would lead to an aggregate of 10 years, that such matters would be pending in the magistrates' courts for that time, and therefore, it was not in the best interest of anyone to continue to pursue the matter.
We don't know how long the term would last and whether he would be running for a second term, but let's see, having regard to our constitution, it's 10 years down the road. And so that position basically would have been an untenable one, to have 19 charges pending in the magistrate court for 10 years at a time when an individual then would have been no longer under immunity.
Another section of the media reported that the president expressed gratitude to his attorney for standing by his side, the magistrate for her quick and decisive action, members of the judiciary for allowing him a fair opportunity to be heard, and his supporters, among others. The president further stated that the charges brought against him are political and was a baseless and a poorly orchestrated attempt to prevent him from ascending to the presidency of the country. In November 2018, Ali was charged by the Police Force's Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, for selling several plots of state lands at Prattville and Prattville II, below market cost, to several ministers of government and friends at that time. Ali's attorney had said that the charges could not amount to an offense, and even if proven, could not lead to conviction. Wendell Badri for HGP Nightly News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
The trial in the private criminal charges filed against the GCOM CEO would only continue until the Director of Public Prosecutions informs the court on the way forward. The details in this report with HGP Nightly News' Travis Chase.
The private criminal charges of misconduct in public office, fraud, and conspiracy brought against the Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield was put down to August 24, 2020. Magistrate Faith Magusti put down the matter because Attorney-at-Law Nigel Hughes has written the Director of Public Prosecution, Shalimar Ali Haq, asking her to drop all criminal charges that were filed against Lowenfield. Attorney-at-Law Sanjeev Dattadin, who is in association with Prosecutor Glenn Hanneman, said that the prosecution has been formally written to by the DPP.
So the DPP has written to us, yesterday, to ask for the file so that she could consider what is going to be the position of the DPP, and we have complied with that. So on the 24th, we're going to report, and the DPP presumably will have a choice to whatever she chooses to do.
In essence, by the 24th of August, the Director of Public Prosecutions should be able to decide whether to take over the private criminal charges against Mr. Lowenfield or order that they be discontinued. Mr. Dattadin was asked about the progress made with the collection of witness statements and other relevant material.
But there is substantial progress. There was obviously the information that would have been available before a charge would have filed, and we would have had that information available. The DPP, in her discretion, might choose to obtain more or request that there be further investigation for more information, or she may choose not to do so. Whichever is the way, that's really a discretion for her.
The private criminal charges were brought against Mr. Lowenfield by Desmond Morian and Daniel Josh Kanai. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
And as former President David Granger, in an exclusive interview on Benchop Radio on Tuesday night, said he did not concede at the 2020 elections, and an election petition is expected to be filed as soon as Monday. HGP's Wendell Badri filed this report.
In an appearance on Benchop Radio with host Mark Benchop, former President of Ghana, David Granger, spoke about his decision to step down at the 2020 elections, even though many senior officials from his party, the APNO-AFC coalition, maintained that fraud had been perpetrated at the polls. The party leader posited that his government, during its tenure, and especially since the passing of the no-confidence motion in the National Assembly in December 2018, had always abided by the rule of law and the directives of the courts.
And the courts ordered the type of report which the Chief Elections Officer had to present. And once that type of report was presented and the Commission accepted, we had no choice but to accept the declaration.
The President further clarified that he never conceded. Instead, what he did was to accept the declaration by the chairperson of GCOM, Justice Claudette Singh, retired. The definition of concede, according to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, is to acknowledge with hesitation, or to accept as true, valid, or accurate. The party leader also stated that the decision to step down was a collective decision and not one made in isolation or unilaterally.
I did not concede. I never used the word concede. I never conceded. What I said and what I did was to accept the declaration issued by the Commission. I cannot swear myself in. I do not understand why people feel I should swear myself in.
The former president said that the coalition party is compiling its dossier of anomalies found at the recently concluded elections, which had lasted for a period of 5 months, and an election petition will be filed soon, challenging the results of the polls.
Our lawyers are working on it, and we expect that it will be filed very soon, maybe by Monday. We have to ensure that all of our partners are on board. We have a dossier, as you know, we compiled a dossier of anomalies and abuses, and that will be the basis of our claim.
The party leader, when questioned about discussions he might have had with the newly elected president, dismissed the notion.
Mr. Ali called me. We did have a brief conversation. It was very cordial, but there is no prospect of talks.
Mr. Granger, in refusing to divulge too much information about what was discussed with the president, simply revealed that Mr. Ali indicated that he would like to collaborate. However, he said that that was very vague, since no particular area had been identified.
No, I don't want to go into the nature of our discussion in any detail, but he mentioned that his administration was prepared to collaborate, and no areas of collaboration have been defined.
The president went on to state that the constitutionally mandated process at the recently concluded elections had been followed, and Guyanese can hold their heads high, given the fact that they saw and functioned under a law-abiding government over the last 5 years, and further that no protests or disruptions took place subsequent to the chairperson's declarations. The president maintained that Guyana continues to be respected by the international community, even in the face of threats and sanctions, and while persons may not be fully satisfied with the outcome of the elections, the rule of law continues to be upheld. Wendell Badri for HGP Nightly News.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.